And then we have the Swerve in Our Glory, Shane Taylor, JD Griffey, which I think this actually has been very well built. And this has been a very, very strange point of contention for a lot of people. First of all, this is even if you stretch it, this is no higher than 4th or 5th from the top on the show. You have the Jericho match. You have the FTR match. You have the Pure match. You have the Samoa Joe match. You could even argue the women's match would all be ahead of this match in the pecking order. Maybe you can, if you're being generous, get this to 4th or 5th from the top. So it's firmly a down card, insignificant in the grand scheme, not going to sell a single pay-per-view, mid-card fucking match. How much more build do we really, there's people hand-wringing this. They are aghast that Shane Taylor just randomly showed up on TV, again, with not enough of an explanation, even though the man literally explained why he was there.
I am Shane Taylor, and you know why I'm here. Yeah, and
he explained why he was there, who he was, and what his motivations were, and we still have people hand.
Well, again, I don't know who this man is, and I am too lazy, or I think.
Well, you know what?
You always say it's this thing that.
Yeah.
I don't know who this person is, and I don't understand this, so I'm going to assume that nobody else understands this. Or you play the headcanon of, well, I get it, but the Corn Cob casual listeners aren't going to get it, or the casual viewers aren't going to get it type of thing, which both of those things are pretty terrible. You just don't want to admit that you don't know who Shane Taylor is because you don't watch that much wrestling or whatever, and whatever, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Or, like you said, there's always this weird headcanon thing where you have to create the dumbest human being on earth and then funnel all of our wrestling discourse to that person, the dumbest human being on earth, and them, how they watch the show. And we don't really have to do that.
Now, listen, Shane Taylor is not exactly Dwayne Johnson. I'll grant you that.
That is, correct.
But here's the thing, Rich. Here's the thing. He told you who he was. He told you why he was there. He told you his relationship with Keith Lee. He told you why he didn't like Keith Lee. And then he told you why he wanted to beat up Keith Lee, and he challenged him to a match. And he did it all in 40 seconds. Shane Taylor knocked it out of the park in that segment.
Oh, he's great. I love Shane Taylor.
In less than a minute, he got everything. He explained everything and got everything over. So even if you don't know, even if you never watched Ring of Honor, even if you never saw Shane Taylor in your life, even if you don't know who Shane Taylor is, if you watched the fucking TV show and you paid attention, you now know everything you need to know about Shane Taylor and why he's there and why he wants to fight Keith Lee. He told you that he used to be Keith Lee's partner and that Keith Lee walked out on him the same way that Keith Lee walked out on Swerve. He laid it all out. Then he said, you know what, Keith? I haven't forgotten about it. My career went fine. I became the greatest Ring of Honor World Television Champion of all time. But now I want my revenge. I have a partner. His name is JD Griffey. I want to beat you up. So go find a partner. Rich, that's Wrestling 101.
Yeah, you made this point in our Discord that if we can't accept this as wrestling stories, then we've completely lost the plot.
We've completely lost the plot if I have a history with you.
Right, we used to run together. Now we don't run together. I don't like you and I want to face you. And here's my partner. Now you find a guy.
Now I'm challenging you because I want to beat you up.
Right. If we can't do that, then we're done. We're done.
If that's not enough of a build for you, I don't know what you want anymore. Because again, this isn't a main event match. It's arguably the number 6 match on the show. It's a down card match. It doesn't need anything. If you want to do more, maybe they did more tonight. Maybe they'll do more Friday. Maybe they'll do more on the pre-show. Great. I'm all for that. You want Shane Taylor to jump Keith Lee from behind on Rampage? That'd be awesome. But if they don't do
I don't think they need to do anymore, man. I think
that's what I mean.
We used to be buddies. You turned your back on me. I'm here in your company now. And there's a pay-per-view on Sunday. Let's face each other. On Saturday, let's face each other. I think that's fine. I think that's okay. That sounds like wrestling, man. God.
More than enough. That's a classic pro wrestling build. I don't need any more. I'll take more.
I need Shane Taylor running Keith Lee over with his car, and then I will finally say, yes.
We need something. We need more build, and we need a video package, and we need to make sure that everyone knows who Shane Taylor is, even though he told you who he was.
Right. We need to stop Rampage in its tracks and have somebody go, that is Shane Taylor, and he once was in Ring of Honor, and he runs
we're
Shane
getting
Taylor.
to the
But
point
he
where-
did that. He also said, I'm Shane
He
Taylor.
did that.
Right.
No, they did do that. That's the thing.
But
Here's
they
the
didn't
thing.
stop. People need you to stop. Well, that didn't even work either, because as Caliber said, hey, last time I saw Hangman Page in the ring, yada, yada, and people were still like, my brain.
They did stop. Renee said, Shane Taylor, what are you doing here? And then he told her what he was
right,
doing.
he did. Oh, she did. You're right.
We're getting to the point. We are getting to the point where even when they do the things that people say they should do,
it's not enough. It's not.
They're moving the
right
goalposts and saying it's still not enough. I mean, what more do you want? It's not as if they just put a graphic on the screen that said Shane Taylor and JD Griffey versus Keith Lee and a partner of his choosing and just let it. That would be no build. That would be, okay, who the fuck is Shane Taylor and JD Griffey? Right? If they just put a graphic on the screen and had Excalibur run through it the way he runs through everything. But they didn't do that. They did build it. They did tell you who he was. They did have him explain his motivations. Then they had Swerve enter the scene. And now you have Keith Lee who's like, oh, what do I do? Do I trust this asshole again? I guess I have to.
Yeah, I don't have anybody else right now, and my guy's challenging me, so...
And I'm not getting punked by Shane Taylor, so I guess I'm going to have to trust this guy again. And now you have to, and here's the other thing about this match that people seem to be missing too. Shane Taylor does not fucking matter. He is just a conduit. He is just a bridge to get us to the next stage of the Keith Lee Swerve Strickland feud story. That's all. That's all this match is. That's all Shane Taylor is. It's to get us to the next chapter of what happens between Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. And does that mean they come back and they live happily ever after and go back? Does that mean that Keith Lee turns on Swerve and goes back with Shane Taylor? Does this mean that Swerve screws Keith again? I don't know. That's why we watch. It's a good story because I don't know where it's going. But that's the other thing here. The match doesn't even really fucking matter. This is about the story between Keith and Swerve. And they found a cool way to do the next chapter of that story by digging into Keith Lee's past and this ghost of his past coming back to give him another problem that he doesn't need right now. I thought this was the best 40-second build I've ever seen.
I'm excited for this match. I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, who gives a shit? I give a shit, man. Shane Taylor Promotions rocks. Keith Lee rocks. Swerve rules. JD Griffey's solid. Like, I love this. And it's got, like, for people that actually watch this television or enjoy wrestling, like, this is a good, it's got history and it's a good build and it's a clean, easy, simple to understand story that, yeah, I'm fucking into it, man. Like, I feel like, again, I'm taking crazy pills again when I just see the hand wringing about this. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty fucking excited to watch this match. So sorry.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't need weeks of, they got over what they need to get over with me in 40 seconds.
Well, like you said, if in pro wrestling now we've gone to the point where that's not enough to tell a story for some people, then I don't, yeah, where are we at? What? Well,
you know what they need to do? You know what? Here's what they need to do. Keith Lee and Shane Taylor need to talk in a hallway while Jey Uso makes funny faces. Maybe that's what we needed. I don't know, Rich. I don't know anymore.
They need to both be in the ring doing a 25-minute promo segment where they go, talk.
Maybe this has passed me by. Maybe we're the crazy ones.
Yeah, I think every week I'm taking crazy pills. This Hangman Moxley stuff, I am taking crazy pills on this.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a second.
I don't want to. No more.
I know Fred Moreland wrote an article.
Yes, we have a great article at voiceswrestling.com that says explaining what doesn't need to be explained, the Hangman Moxley story, and very simple. It only takes a couple paragraphs to get there, but we explain what happens in the Hangman Moxley story and why they would want to fight each other.
I'm not going to be as polite as Fred, and I might insult a lot of our listeners. I've been insulting people for 11 years, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, change now. Yeah, at this point,
I don't care if you're Lance Storm. I don't care if you're Dave Meltzer, although Dave on this particular topic seems to be on the right side of this one.
He is. Although, he just wanted more promos and more video packages. But
he wanted a video pack, but he understands
the story. He gets the story.
Yeah, right. He gets the story. But I don't care who you are. And I mean this with all sincerity. I really do. If you don't understand why Hangman Page is angry at Jon Moxley, and why Hangman Page and Jon Moxley don't like each other, I think you're stupid. I know that sounds harsh. I think you're a dull person who might be stupid. They have been soft feuding with each other ever since the ladder match, eons ago, where, Hangman knocked him off the ladder or whatever. And then they've kind of been crossing paths since then. They had a world title match. Moxley concussed him. And now Hangman wants his revenge. If you don't understand, if you think that's too confusing or not explained well enough for you,
or doesn't
I'll
fit,
grant you this,
or doesn't fit in kayfabe. That's what Lance Storm's thing is.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you're either, and I'll grant you this benefit of the doubt, maybe you're not stupid. Maybe you just don't watch the show. Maybe you haven't watched every episode of Dynamite like I have, or Rich has, or some of the people listening have, and maybe you've missed some of this. Ignorance is something different. Okay? But if you watch and follow the promotion and you don't understand why these two don't like each other, I just have to assume that you're dumb. Because this couldn't be more straightforward. And it's time to stop acknowledging these ridiculous arguments.
Thank you.
And these because now look, Lance Storm is the kind of guy who often gets hung up on these weird details. He's always been a little quirky that way. Okay? But this one's especially stupid because, like you said, now the argument has shifted to, oh, well, it was a legitimate injury. So how do we
in kayfabe, Hangman should not be mad that he got concussed because every single match guys are trying to concuss each other, which is
the dumbest fucking thing.
Exactly what it is. No, not really.
So how many feuds have there been historically in pro wrestling based on one guy injuring the other? And
lot.
Whether they were kayfabe. I mean, are you then telling me that Bruno Sammartino shouldn't have been mad at Stan Hansen in kayfabe? Right? Like, how far do you want to take this? I mean, when someone gets legitimately injured in a match, that's handing the promoter a storyline on a silver platter. That's a free storyline that you didn't have before. It's a silver lining for a bad situation because now you can make money off of the legitimate injury when the guy comes back from the legitimate injury. And this has been something done in pro wrestling for decades, hundreds, if not thousands of times. Again, this is one of those things where I don't know where we are anymore as wrestling fans. If something like this is too hard to comprehend or doesn't make sense, I don't know where we are anymore. It makes me question whether this thing maybe has passed me by. I don't get it anymore. This couldn't be more self-explanatory or simple. And
just rooted in like actual human behavior. Like why wouldn't Hangman Page be annoyed by that? Yes, it is a pro wrestling match, but he still got knocked out and the guy made fun of him about it. And then he went away for a couple months because he got knocked out. And then he came back and the guy made fun of him again about it. Like, of course he'd be fucking pissed about that. He got punked out. He lost the match. He lost the title and he had to miss a bunch of time because of the way that the guy, he hit him, whatever. Like, and I understand the goal of a wrestling match. I don't think that in kayfabe wrestlers are wrestling to incapacitate the other person and take them out for months at a time. Most of them are wrestling to win a match. You know what I mean? Like, yes, if that is that a byproduct of it? No one's out there trying to break each other's necks. No one's out there trying to concuss everybody. It's just it's simulated sport. It's athletic competition. Like, you're not trying to. I'm not out there when I'm playing basketball hoping that I tear the ACL of my opponent that I'm playing, or I elbow him in the face so that I can beat them. And no, that's not what my goal is. Like,
don't you just feel stupid explaining this?
Why am I doing this? I can't believe I'm doing this, and I don't want to do it anymore. At the end of the day, why would Hangman Page not? Why? I don't understand why Hangman Page is mad. Well, I don't know. He got concussed, punked out, and the guy made fun of him, and he wants to get his revenge. I think that's pretty simple.
You know what I don't understand? How Kevin Owens doesn't see a door propped open with Jey Uso's head sticking out making funny faces.
Right, that's
what I don't understand.
That's fine.
That I don't understand.
Well, the show that Lance Storm works on, a man was murdered this week, and that's okay. But yeah,
irony of Lance Storm complaining about this very simple story with an Impact logo behind his head.
Right, well, somebody was murdered on his show
where they killed a character. Now I know Lance isn't okay with that, but hey,
that Impact logo's still back there.
He's paying his mortgage.
Yeah,
right. So, it's I feel silly even talking
we spent
about
10 minutes on this, of why a man concussed another guy and took him out for a couple weeks and a couple months or whatever, and the guy that got concussed came back and wants his revenge on the guy, and we have to explain it of why this would make sense. This is why I think I'm taking crazy pills, or like you said, the thing has passed me by. I don't know what. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I think it's only a select few people that are doing this and just continue to regurgitate it, but it does seem to grow in numbers every single. I don't know if that's just
it's
me.
a lot of fans. It's a lot of.
Well,
fans.
they start parroting this too because these are people they believe in and people that they trust and yeah, they these people have said a lot of things that they've agreed with, and all of a sudden they're just going on these just insane it gets parroted a lot. It does.
Maybe Bruno Sammartino should have come back from the broken neck and said, Stan Hansen's supposed to try to break my neck, so I'm not mad at him.
Right. Hey, water in the bridge, athletic competition, put her here, pal. And then they handshake, and then, Bruno goes to face somebody else. Why does
no rematch needed, Vince. Stan is just doing his job, so I'm not mad. Let's just shake hands and go on our merry way. Let's not make any money off of this. I mean, what are we doing here?
Right, Stone Cold Steve Austin when he came back from Owen Hart. You know what, pal? It's all right, man.
You're doing your job. Nicely done, breaking my neck.
I'm so glad you broke my neck and I was out for 8 months. So you know what? You're the IC champ now. Continue being the IC champ, pal. You won this one. So
yeah, you got the better of me, you rascal. Right? No.
Yes, I know Stone Cold Steve Austin won the match. Don't comment. I know.
Yeah, we would get the idea. It's like that's the basis. That's like the
athletic competition, competition in anything, not even athletic competition.
Well,
it's like a board game. You can play a board game with somebody and lose and want a rematch because you lost. Like we're explaining wanting to beat somebody. What? God, what are we doing?
The core root of pro wrestling is revenge.
Also, these are uber masculine morons that just maniac morons. Like, we need to stop treating them as they must be logical human beings. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make logical sense for Hangman Page.
No, but it does.
Cares? But A, it does, and B, he's a fucking maniac. They're these uber masculine maniac dudes that want to fucking kill each other.
We're taking this too far. Like, this is why it's silly to even have to explain any of this. The guy put him out. He wants his revenge. That's the basis of a million pro wrestling storylines.
I don't know anymore.
Including many that have drawn shit tons of money. I mean, you can't chalk it all up to bad faith.
No, we're getting past that point. Yeah, we're getting past just simply bad faith.
We're simply losing the plot on what pro wrestling is supposed to be. And, I blame, I blame WWE. I really do. And I know people are tired of me saying shit like this, but 20 years of that company doing things one way has indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that's the way. I blame them. That company sucks so bad and it has for so long, and it's rotted people's brains. And it still sucks. It's allegedly so much different now. They're playing poker on Raw and doing 1.5 million viewers. So it's the same old shit. But when we can't just have, hey, I don't like you, I'm challenging you to a match, be a sufficient build for a fucking undercard pay-per-view match, and when we can't understand why a wrestler would want revenge for another wrestler injuring him, we have completely lost the plot. We've completely lost it. And we've got to reel it back in at that point. And you were right. I mean, Dave understands the feud. He just thinks they should have hammered it home more. Maybe replayed the fucking knockout, whatever the fuck. All right, whatever. But, I mean, if you pay attention to AEW, you understand why these guys don't like each other. Maybe Lance doesn't watch the show every week or something. I don't know. Or again, maybe people are just stupid, Rich. I'll be the one to say it. I don't care. I don't think you're very bright if you don't understand why these two characters wouldn't like each other. You've seen the promos, or have you? I mean, I assume people have seen the promos and saw the match and know the history, but maybe they don't. And maybe that's the other thing. Maybe history, it's hard. Maybe history doesn't matter to a lot of people because it doesn't matter in the other company. And it's a new pay-per-view cycle. And
right, we're also have goldfish brains and just say, why do they not like each other right now?
Right. And I'm not joking. Maybe that's a part of this.
Right.
Whereas,
I know they did that 2 months
and,
ago, but why are they upset at each other now? It's like, well,
yeah, right.
What happened 2 months
Yeah.
ago?
Like that's old new. Like, everything has to be, starting from scratch every time. Because again, another company taught us that that's how they tell their stories. And this has been a company from day one that doesn't forget anything. Everything that has happened still matters in the future. And we talked about that for a long time. It's very Dragon Gate-like in that way, where old grudges don't just magically go away. Old feuds don't magically go away. These people behave like real people, and it evolves and it continues on. I think it's fucking embarrassing that we have to spend time on this show explaining why Moxley and Hangman don't like each other. That's fucking embarrassing.
It's pretty
that
sad.
We have to do that. That there's people that like genuinely don't get this. It's crazy. We have to waste our time to explain a basic pro wrestling story that can't be any simpler. Now, I don't want people who don't understand listening to this show. I don't even want you listening.
Right. If the Hangman Moxley thing has confused you, maybe go listen to the Ringer. Go listen to the Ringer.
Yeah, Don't Be Pete has a show and it's a click away. Just we're not your speed. I'm sorry. Maybe that sounds like, I don't know what the word would be, arrogant or uppity. I don't care. I don't care. We're operating on different planes at that point.